closer to solving it.
Press
Press coverage intensified, and community outrage escalated.
We'd never had a homicide like this in Salt Lake City. We'd never had people just gunned down, especially young people gunned down in the middle of an intersection. The general public wanted to know about the killings. They wanted to know if they were race-related.
With the possibility of civil rights violations, concern grew in the Justice Department. Assistant U.S. Attorney Steve Snarr was brought in to monitor the case.
Members of the black community were particularly concerned and were somewhat vocal about whether this was racially motivated, but at the time there were no clear answers.
FBI Special Agent Curtis Jensen from the Salt Lake City office was assigned to assist local investigators.
When I first heard about this case, I was incensed. It caused a great deal of concern among not just the black community, but all of the community in Salt Lake City. They felt that there was an assassin loose and it could happen again.
As community pressure grew, test results from the FBI ballistics lab in Washington, D.C. offered investigators a fresh lead. Examiners determined that the weapon had been a 6-shot rifle, either a Marlin or Glenfield .30-30. After searching gun shops and classified ads for recent purchases, investigators assembled 150 weapons that matched the description. They tested each one. None had fired the bullets found at the scene. By now, it was likely that the assailant had fled the area and perhaps the state. So the FBI sent out nationwide teletypes to local and federal agencies describing details of the crime, including the weapon and shell casings. With still no suspects, a $50,000 reward was offered to promote the public's help. Calls flooded in. All were checked, none panned out. Most who came forward were after the money and had nothing solid to offer. But one showed a hint of promise. A young woman claimed she might have met the killer. She identified herself as Mickey, a part-time prostitute. She was reluctant to talk to police until Detective Bell assured her she wouldn't be charged if she came in for an interview.
She was actually a struggling college student, and so she would go out 2 days a week and work on one of the streets that a lot of the prostitutes worked on.
She told the detective about a man she had met sometime in August, close to the time of the killings. Mickey was walking down the street when a man in a Camaro pulled up and asked if she wanted to party. She hadn't planned on turning any tricks that day, so she said no.
A little bit of YouTube videos.
He said he'd make it worth her while. She relented since she needed the money, and the man didn't seem threatening. He spoke with a southern accent and introduced himself as Bill Hagman. He drove her to the Regal Inn Motel. In the room, Mickey noticed that Hagman had weapons. She described 2 long guns that stood in the corner and 1 silver handgun. Hagman didn't talk about them, and Mickey was afraid to ask. She also said that the man had tattoos on both arms. On his left forearm was an American eagle, on the right, the Grim Reaper. After their stay at the motel, Hagman offered to treat her to lunch, then drive her home. At an intersection on the way to the restaurant, he pulled out his handgun and said something she would never forget.
He explained that he was a contract hitman for the Ku Klux Klan and said, "Do you want me to kill those?" She says, "Put the gun away." She was very concerned about what he was going to do. He then says, "It's real easy. I've done work like this before. You just walk up, you shoot him, you walk on. Everybody's concerned with him falling. No one pays any attention to you."
Mickey was terrified.
What's going on? YouTube
Killing the
videos.
pedestrian. Afterward, Hagman dropped her at her apartment, where he briefly met her roommate. Bell wondered if Mickey was reliable or just another false witness.